Welcome to Defense Briefing. The content of the briefing includes what war games really reveal. For management secrets of Greek Orthodox monks. The West has a bad case of temporal whiplash. Inside Ukraine's covert Center 73, where clandestine missions shape the war behind the front line. Lose a limb or risk death. Growing numbers among Gaza's thousands of war wounded face hard decisions. What war games really reveal. Foreign affairs. War games are becoming an increasingly popular tool for policymakers and influencers in the United States to shape public opinion and advance their agendas. These games, which simulate potential conflicts and scenarios, can be used to rally support for certain policies, influence budget decisions, and even signal intentions to adversaries. The recent focus on war games involving China, particularly a conflict over Taiwan, reveals a growing hawkishness in U.S. policy towards China. The games assume that the defense of Taiwan is a strategic interest for the United States and that China intends to invade Taiwan, despite the fact that China's intentions are unknowable. The games also reveal a consolidation of support among political factions in the U.S. in favor of increased military aid to Taiwan and restrictive trade measures against China. While war games are not crystal balls and don't predict the future, they can shape it by influencing policymakers and public opinion. The immersive nature of war games and the shared experience they provide make them powerful tools of persuasion. However, they can also be biased and manipulative, and it is important for the press and the public to ask the right questions and understand the context of these games. Ultimately, war games can play a valuable role in building deterrence, fostering trust between adversaries, and helping to prevent conflict. For management secrets of Greek Orthodox monks. Bloomberg. The monastic republic of Athos on the Athos Peninsula in northern Greece is an austere and anachronistic theocracy that should not be sustainable, yet it is thriving. The monks live simply, with no access to technology or worldly distractions, and focus on prayer, study, and the upkeep of the monastery. They have clearly prescribed responsibilities and specialize in specific tasks, such as road maintenance, power supply, and finances. The monasteries have managed to build up significant wealth through donations, bequests, and property holdings, while the Roman Catholic Church is envious of the number of acolytes they attract. The monks provide spiritual guidance to pilgrims and offer a sense of communal purpose and focus. The monastic republic offers practical lessons on how to manage one's life and goals. Disconnecting from technology and focusing on specific tasks can help to declutter the mind and eliminate restlessness and distractions. Specializing in specific tasks and focusing on one's part in the larger community can help to increase productivity and focus. The monastic republic also demonstrates the importance of exploiting core and distinctive competencies, as the monks provide spiritual guidance and access to relics that provide comfort and focus for troubled souls. The monastery's success lies in their steadfastness in pursuing their objectives and their ability to adapt and overcome adversity. They have managed to build up wealth and influence through their focused efforts and determination. The West has a bad case of temporal whiplash. Bloomberg. The world is experiencing a paradox when it comes to time. While the internet and information economy have sped up communications and transactions, infrastructure projects and other sectors are slowing down. The author highlights the example of Amazon, which operates on just-in-time supply chains and can deliver products rapidly, while infrastructure projects like the HS2 railway in the UK have faced significant delays. The problem is a combination of politics, legal rights, and bureaucratic processes that hinder progress. In addition to infrastructure, the knowledge economy is also experiencing deceleration, with longer timelines for research and the average age of Nobel Prize winners and academic article publications increasing. The author suggests that one solution is to bring in outside expertise and technologies to speed up bureaucratic processes. For example, Amazon could be involved in running infrastructure projects, Palantir could take over academic journals, and AI could handle peer review. These changes would help bridge the gap between the fast-paced internet world and the slow-moving physical world, benefiting the West's political and economic health. Inside Ukraine's covert Center 73, where clandestine missions shape the war behind the front line. Associated Press. Ukrainian Special Forces Unit, Center 73, has been leading the counteroffensive against Russian forces in the Kherson region for the past 6 months. The unit is made up of frontline scouts, drone operators, and underwater saboteurs, and their mission has been to reclaim the south of Ukraine from Russian control. Their primary objective was to secure a crossing to the other side of the Dnipro River, but their plans were disrupted when the Kakhovka Dam was destroyed, flooding the area and washing out the Ukrainian army positions. Despite these setbacks, Center 73 continued their mission and eventually reclaimed an island near the dam. The unit is highly skilled and well equipped with modern gear, including night vision goggles, underwater breathing apparatus, and waterproof rifles. They have been conducting high-risk operations, such as scouting close to Russian forces, planting explosives, and carrying out underwater missions. The unit has faced heavy fire from Russian forces, including Iskander missiles and drone attacks, but they have persevered and made progress in reclaiming territory. However, the battle is far from over. Russian forces continue to launch attacks on Ukrainian positions, and Ukrainian forces are vastly under-equipped compared to their Russian counterparts. Holding and advancing in winter is also challenging, both physically and mentally, for the Ukrainian soldiers. Despite the difficulties, Center 73 and other Ukrainian forces remain committed to their mission and continue to fight for their country. This article highlights the bravery and determination of Ukrainian special forces in their fight against Russian aggression. Despite facing numerous challenges and setbacks, they have remained steadfast in their mission and have made progress in reclaiming territory. Their story serves as a reminder of the sacrifices and risks that soldiers take to defend their country and protect their people. Lose a limb or risk death. Growing numbers among Gaza's thousands of war-wounded face hard decisions. Associated Press. According to the World Health Organization, WHO, there are no precise figures on the number of amputations which have taken place in Gaza during the current conflict with Israel. However, it is believed that many of the amputations were preventable if the correct medical treatment had been available. The lack of vascular surgeons in Gaza has exacerbated the problem, as they are the first responders to trauma injuries and are best positioned to save limbs. However, due to the severity of many of the injuries sustained, some limbs are beyond saving and need to be removed as quickly as possible to prevent the spread of infection. The situation is likely to deteriorate further as only 9 of Gaza's 36 hospitals are still operational and many injured are unable to reach the remaining hospitals due to Israeli bombardment and ground combat. Gaza's health system was already overwhelmed following years of conflict and a border blockade enforced by Israel and Egypt in response to the 2007 Hamas takeover of the territory. U.S. strikes Iran-backed groups in Iraq after attack on base injures 3 Americans. New York Times. The U.S. has conducted new airstrikes on Iraq, destroying 3 facilities used by Iranian proxies that have been targeting American and coalition troops, according to U.S. officials. The attacks were in retaliation for a drone attack on Erbil Air Base, in which 3 U.S. service members were injured, 1 critically. The U.S. has blamed Iran and its militias for near-daily rocket and drone attacks against its forces in Iraq and Syria. U.S. President Joe Biden authorized the strikes, which targeted facilities used by Kataib Hezbollah, a militia group in Iraq considered to be an Iranian proxy. The Biden administration has sought to deter such groups with retaliatory airstrikes while avoiding wider war. China unveils a new naval chief as maritime tensions climb. Bloomberg. China has appointed Hu Zhongming as the new head of its navy, a move that comes amidst escalating tensions in the South China Sea. Hu was promoted to the rank of general at a ceremony in Beijing attended by President Xi Jinping. The change in leadership comes as China flexes its military muscle in the disputed waters of the South China Sea and the Taiwan Strait. Last week, China's foreign minister warned that relations with the Philippines are facing serious difficulties following recent maritime confrontations. The appointment of Hu marks China's push for its navy to be more active around the world. Whiskey wooing young Chinese away from Baijiu as top distillers target a growing market. Associated Press. Pernod Ricard has opened a $100 million distillery in the Sichuan region of China to meet the growing demand for whiskey among the country's younger consumers. The distillery is located at the UNESCO World Heritage Site Mount Amay and will produce the Chuan, a pure malt whiskey. China is already home to more than 30 whiskey distilleries, and consumption of the drink rose at a compound annual growth rate of 10% from 2017 to 2022. Biden orders strike on Iranian-aligned group after 3 U.S. troops injured in drone attack in Iraq. The Globe and Mail. U.S. President Joe Biden has ordered retaliatory strikes against Iranian-backed militia groups in response to a drone attack in northern Iraq that injured 3 U.S. service members. The attack was claimed by the Iranian-backed militia Kataib Hezbollah and affiliated groups. Biden was briefed on the attack and directed the Pentagon to prepare response options. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and the National Security Team presented Biden with options, and he directed strikes against 3 locations used by the militia groups. The attack on U.S. troops follows months of escalating threats and actions against American forces in the region, with the U.S. blaming Iran for the violence perpetrated by its proxy groups. Ukrainian Air Force destroys Russian landing ship in occupied Crimea. Yahoo! Ukraine has reportedly destroyed a Russian landing ship in the occupied Crimea, according to Ukraine's Air Force commander, Mykola Olszczuk. The ship, named Novocherkassk, was allegedly destroyed during the early hours of December 26 in the port of Feodosia. Explosions were reported in the area, with a ship carrying Iranian ammunition also said to have been blown up and a fire breaking out in the port. Russian-affiliated media reported loud bangs, plumes of smoke and blocked traffic on the Crimean bridge. The head of Russian occupation authorities in Crimea stated that an enemy attack had taken place. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Six, your resident observer from the 6 Degrees world, bringing you the latest news from around the globe. Today, we discussed various topics ranging from the use of war games as a tool for shaping public opinion to the management secrets of Greek Orthodox monks. We also delved into the paradox of time in the modern world, the bravery of Ukrainian special forces, the healthcare crisis in Gaza, the U.S. strikes on Iranian-backed groups in Iraq, China's new naval chief, the rise of whiskey in China, and the destruction of a Russian landing ship in Crimea. Now, let's dive into the analysis. War games have become a popular tool for policymakers in the U.S., allowing them to shape public opinion and advance their agendas. While these games can be influential, we must remember that they are not crystal balls and cannot predict the future. The recent focus on war games involving China reveals a growing hawkishness in U.S. policy towards China, assuming China's intentions to invade Taiwan. However, it is important to ask the right questions and understand the context behind these games. Moving on to the management secrets of Greek Orthodox monks, we learned that focusing on specific tasks and decluttering the mind can increase productivity and focus. The monastic Republic of Athos has thrived by exploiting core competencies and adapting to adversity. Their success lies in their steadfastness in pursuing their objectives. We also explored the paradox of time, with the internet speeding up communication while infrastructure and other sectors slow down. The suggestion of bringing in outside expertise and technologies to speed up bureaucratic processes could bridge the gap between the fast-paced internet world and the slow-moving physical world. Next, we discussed the bravery of Ukrainian special forces in their fight against Russian aggression. Despite facing setbacks and challenges, they remain committed to their mission and continue to fight for their country. Their story serves as a reminder of the sacrifices and risks that soldiers take to defend their people. In Gaza, the lack of medical treatment and infrastructure has led to preventable amputations and a worsening healthcare crisis. The situation is dire, with limited hospital access and ongoing conflict making it difficult for the injured to receive proper care. The U.S. conducted airstrikes on Iranian-backed groups in Iraq in retaliation for a drone attack on an air base. President Biden sought to deter such groups while avoiding wider war, showing a measured response to the escalating tensions. China's appointment of a new naval chief comes at a time of growing tensions in the South China Sea. China aims for its navy to be more active around the world, flexing its military muscle in disputed waters. On a lighter note, whiskey is gaining popularity among younger Chinese consumers. Pernod Ricard has opened a distillery in China to meet the growing demand, reflecting the changing preferences in the market. Lastly, Ukraine reportedly destroyed a Russian landing ship in occupied Crimea, adding to the ongoing conflict between the two countries. That wraps up today's news analysis. Remember, war games may shape the future, but they are not crystal balls. Greek Orthodox monks show us the value of focus and adaptation. The paradox of time calls for bridging the gap between the fast-paced internet world and the slow-moving physical world. Ukrainian special forces demonstrate bravery and determination in the face of adversity. The healthcare crisis in Gaza needs urgent attention. The U.S. strikes on Iranian-backed groups in Iraq show a measured response to escalating tensions. China's new naval chief signals its intent to be more active globally. Whiskey is gaining popularity in China, and Ukraine continues to face off against Russian aggression. Now, I invite you, our esteemed audience, to share your thoughts and questions. What are your perspectives on these news stories? Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6 do brief via email.